Welcome back. Welcome to Critical Canadian 1-4.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
Arsenal versus Newcastle. Honestly, one of the best 0-0 draws I think I've ever watched. Both teams have been playing super well in the season, and defensively, both teams have been pretty solid. The game was a battle in the midfield with 9 yellow cards. The ref, the ref nearly let the game get away from him in the first 25 minutes, and I think after that he just started giving out yellows to anybody. So there was plenty of off-field antics, like even between Arteta and Eddie Howe after the game, and I think even for the last like 5-10 minutes. And I think most of it had to do with time wasting, to be honest. So I don't know. I think Arteta was just pissed. I think he just thought Newcastle just came here to get the draw, which is fair. Hey, honestly, against us, I think that's a good result for Newcastle. So, and good result for us, honestly. And pundits like Shearer were calling it disrespectful that Arteta was like talking that way to Eddie Howe. I don't know. I don't know if it's disrespectful or if it's just being fiery and passionate or somewhere in the middle. I feel like there's a middle ground, and Arteta steps over the line a little bit, which I love. I love to see it. I love to see it from a manager. Honestly, if a little bit more of that from Wagner, that would have been a much appreciated thing. Just a little bit of passion, just a little bit of passion on the sidelines. I guess you can't have it both ways. So it's either you have an Arteta or you have Wenger who just sits there on the bench, and I feel like somewhere in the middle is probably where you should be, and I don't know. I do appreciate that Arteta, he's got a young squad, and I think sometimes he feels he needs to like dictate it, which, hey, if he thinks he needs to get up and yell and whatever, it's working for him right now, so let him do it. Let him do it. It's evidently working for him and his young squad. So Arteta's post-game interview where he was talking about scandalous penalties. Scandalous? I'm not so sure. I don't know if they're scandalous. That penalty on Gabriel, I feel like he's falling. He's already falling down. It almost feels like Byrne is like slowing his fall rather than pulling him down. So I don't know. I don't know if I would give that as a penalty. I would be shocked if that went against us. And so I guess it's fair not to give it against Burns. I guess. Handball late in box from, I think who was it? Was Jacques who crossed it? I think Jacques crossed a ball in from 3 feet away, and it goes off the defender as he's leaning back, and it hits this part of his arm. I think last season that's given, and I'm so glad that they've kind of fixed VAR and figured out those 50-50 calls, especially handballs in the box where it's crossed in at you. Just because as a player, I know that what are you supposed to do? I mean, he's just trying to go block the shot. His arm is not that far away from his body. He's not trying to touch it with his arm. It just hits him there. It's so incidental. It feels like it's not. There's no way that should be given as a penalty in the last minutes of the game. So I think VAR and the league have made a good change in general, setting the precedent and kind of letting those go, especially when they're fired from close range and when the hand is in a natural body position, whatever that means. The first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, we had them on the ropes. I feel like if we would have scored an early goal, this game is totally different. They have to come up pushing. Maybe we get a second. Maybe it ends up being 2-0. But because their defense held in that first 25 minutes again, I feel like that's what kind of allowed them to grow into the game. Newcastle to grow into the game and really kind of start progressing the ball and holding a little bit more in the midfield, which really changed the momentum. I think in the first 25 minutes, Arsenal had all the momentum. The field is slanted like this towards Newcastle's end, and it started slowly tilting back. And then about halfway, it was kind of 50-50. So quick change. And honestly, in the first 25 minutes, we just needed the ball to ricochet and just drop at Saka's feet like it has been, and him just curl into the far left corner. I mean, come on, that's all we needed. We just needed a little bit of luck, a little bit of chance, ricocheted ball off to the feet. I noticed that we were trying to hit a lot of driven balls into like their shins and their feet. And I wonder if that's a tactic, knowing that sometimes the ball ricochets to an open player, and you do get a lot of goals that way, even if it's incidental or not on purpose. So, or maybe even a possibility of an error in defense, that maybe a slip or something, and Martinelli goes clean on goal. And as soon as Martinelli is clean on goal, he's scoring that. He's scoring that all day, every day. So that's all we needed. And then they kind of got back in the game by making it really scrappy in the midfield, which which is not always suits us best. So I think that that was honestly a pre-thought of plan to kind of. I don't think 9 yellow cards that they were looking for, but I think they were trying to make it scrappy in the middle of the pitch, and it worked. It worked for them. So it really slowed it down in the midfield. I thought that both Trippier and Burns played really well on the wings. In my pregame predictions, I had Saka absolutely cooking Burns all day. Had him on toast, but that was not it. Dan Burns, I thought he was buns, but apparently he's not. He's all right, and he played well right up until the end. That guy went hard all game, and Saka gave him a run through his money for the first 25, 30 minutes, and then after that, I think he played really well. So. And Trippier versus Martinelli, what a battle! Trippier versus Martinelli, speed versus speed down the left side. I almost said right side, down the left side of the pitch. I guess it depends on what side you're facing, but that far side of the pitch from the camera. So, man, what a game! It was one of the best 0-0s again that I've ever watched. So, not the most exciting as far as scoring plays, but everything in the middle of the pitch was great. Yeah, so the second half was a bit better for both teams, I think, as far as progressing the ball through the midfield. I think a lot of the first half, other than the first 25 minutes, again, where we had them on toast, I think for the middle part, or the 25 to 45th minute, I think it was pretty scrappy, and I think it was just kind of, there wasn't a lot of good passing plays. There was a lot of back and forth, kind of just winning the ball back, taking it 40 feet, winning the ball back, taking it 40 feet, back and forth, kind of ping pong, basketball, soccer. So, the second half was a bit better, and it was quite a show. Both teams were progressing the ball really well, both up, both in the middle. I kind of felt that both teams really attacked up the middle, which I thought we'd use a little bit more of our wingers, but it didn't really seem to be working, so we tried to push it up through the middle. And of course, defending when needed. Both teams played super well in defense. I don't really remember a lot of defensive mistakes or slips. There's that one time where I thought that they had a clean run in, and Ramsdale reads it well and comes across or comes out. And he had good body or good net positioning already at that time. So, yeah. So 5 minutes of extra time. What is that? With the amount of time wasting that was in this game, there should be at least 9 minutes, honestly. And I think that's why Arteta was he was fully pissed at Eddie Howe and the referee squad. 5 minutes is ridiculous. It honestly feels like the ref was just like, I need to get the hell out of here. Get me out of here. 5 minutes and get me in. That's the last 5 minutes I got in me. These fans are going to jump the pitch.
Why are you running? Why?
So overall, we're still top of the league. And although it does kind of feel like it's a bit of drop points, I feel like any Greenwood taking a draw against Newcastle and being top of the league at this point in January, with just slightly over half of the games left to go. This is one of the games that when we did the season, I thought that this game and our game against Man City are going to be season defining, because I just think Newcastle's going to push for third. I don't see Man United getting third, so I think it's going to be Newcastle third spot. So we're playing our rival today, and I think you know what, I'd take a hard fought 0-0 draw. I almost said win, although it doesn't feel like a win. It doesn't feel like a loss either. So I guess a draw is sufficient for both teams. I guess it's kind of fair. Yeah, overall, I would say it's a hard fought draw for both teams and a fair result. I think that's the best way to put it. A fair result for both teams. Newcastle managed the game really well off the ball. I think that was their biggest thing that they kind of showed us, is how to play off the ball, and they didn't press us very high. They kind of pressed us like a mid press, I guess is the best way to put it. And it worked for them. So there you go. Sometimes you don't need to be pressing from the front to win a ball or to win a game. And then when Newcastle did have the ball, they did make some pretty good efforts to progress through our lines. It was just beating our last line of defenders that was kind of tough for them. So good for us, but I think honestly they might go away a little bit disappointed. I think they had one shot on target. I think for them, I hope that's not enough. They should be expecting more. It was crazy that I didn't even know Saint Maximin was injured, but if he's on and he's healthy, this Newcastle team is a different animal. It just is with him on the pitch. Even when he was on, I think that was who was going in, and Ramsdale had to save our game, save our buns. above all, Newcastle defended so well and cut down on those low cut back crosses that we like to do, that we're so good at, where there's Xhaka or Zinchenko or Odegaard or Martinelli or Saka on the far side or Ben White. We really like to get down into the corners and cross it back into the top of the ends of the pitch, which I love. I love to see it. It's aggressive attacking football, because you got to get down there. It's one-on-one usually, and you're trying to just cut it back on the outside of your defender, so have him come across and then put it back this way. And it works. And so I think Newcastle kind of keyed in on that. And if you notice, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for that, or if it did, they had it blocked. They're kind of reading it. And so I think that was the biggest keys for their success at the back, was breaking down those low cross cutbacks that we're really good at. Because we just got forwards that are so much faster than their defenders, and they're just easily getting to them with other teams. So good to see. Good to see. I was a little bit disappointed to only see one sub coming off the bench, and then I was kind of looking after the game, and I was thinking, like, who would have I brought on other than he brought on Tomiyasu for Zinchenko. And I don't think there'd be another sub I would put on. Like, do we put on Marquinhos? No. Do we put on Lokonga? No. I mean, who do we put on? I mean, you could put on El Neni, but I feel like we're fine in there. I feel like if he puts on El Neni and there's a mistake, like, man, he would never hear the end of it. And Partey was playing well. He didn't seem too tired. Xhaka was playing well right up until the end. And Xhaka plays every minute of every game for every team he plays for, so no reason to take him off. He's an absolute workhorse, that man. So I don't know. The one thing that I wish, maybe if we would have had ESR back, I think the fact that we only had one sub come on just screams that we have a lack of depth in our squad. It just screams it, and it's kind of worrying. So, I mean, one injury to Partey, and who are we bringing on? Lokonga in the 80th minute? Come on, man. I don't know. We need something in the January transfer window. But hopefully we get ESR back, maybe on the far side of January. I don't know where his training is. I know he started training back with the squad. So maybe near the end of January he starts getting full game minutes. So that's kind of my hope. And we can have him back for February all the way through March would be ideal. And then it gives us a little bit of a different look, whether, hell, maybe we need to fucking rest Odegaard for a game. I don't know. The guy's played every minute of every game pretty much so far. I don't know. So maybe we need to rest Odegaard, or maybe just to give us a different look. Maybe we pull Martinelli off after he scored a goal or whatever, and make a little bit of a change, or it's a little bit different look for us, and just kind of play with that. So I don't know. That's my overall thing. Good win. Great 0-0 draw. What a good watch for a neutral fan. I was excited. I was fired up. It was a fiery, scrappy game, which I love. Xhaka he almost got a red card. He got booked. It would have been shocking if that was another yellow, but I think 4 years ago, I think that would have been another yellow for him. So I'm glad that refs got eased off on that. So this is also maybe a game we look back at the end of the season and just think, wow, this is a good, this 1 point here against Newcastle. Maybe this is a season defining draw, that hard fought 1 point that maybe puts us in above Man City. Maybe it's that close at the end of the season. So could go a long way. You never know. Anyway, good result. Good job, boys. I'll take it. We'll take it and run. I can hear the Champions League music now.
Toast, we're going to win the league! False, mate! We're Arsenal!
We're gonna win the league!
I think there's something special happening here. I hope I'm right, but I think something is happening. Something special is happening.
I'm telling you, we're going to win the Champions League! We're going to win! I'm telling you!